South Carolina Congressman Ralph Norman sits on the House Homeland Security Committee, and he's already taken steps by introducing articles of impeachment for Secretary of State Blinken. He joins me now to discuss this and the latest out of Congress. Congressman, thank you so much for your time today. It's a pleasure to have you. I just have to get your reaction to I want to talk about the impeachment articles, but I have got to get your reaction to the news that's from the past couple of days regarding the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I mean, how surprised are you at hearing something like this? What are your thoughts?
Well, Dana, it's treason. I mean, who would do this? The Secretary in his role, you don't call foreign communist countries and tell them what the president may or may not do. That's not his role. He took an oath when he got the office under President Trump. He took an oath to protect him and to loyalty, for lack of a better word, and he's done neither. And it blows my mind that he is that it's coming out now. This President Trump fought not only the media, as you know, he fought, the socialist Democrats, and now they'll have to fight his own staff. He ought to be called in front of every committee, including the Oversight Committee, to explain his role and why this isn't treason. And I don't know how he would explain his way out of it.
I don't know either. And it was very interesting to hear from former acting Secretary of Defense Miller, because at one point Miller was, the chain of command, Milley should have at least reported what he was doing to him. One of those phone calls took place on January 8th, and he was completely unaware of it and said that he didn't authorize it. Apparently there were only a select few people that even knew what was going on, and Trump and the American people and members of Congress were kept out of it. And it makes me wonder, Congressman, what else do we not know? I feel like this might be the tip of the iceberg.
Well, they get a pass when they're against Trump in any measure. And you're exactly right. What did he ever do to make people think, one, he was, not there mentally? If you want to talk about somebody not there mentally, look at the president, the current president of the United States, who can't even take any questions, can't read a teleprompter, and is making decisions that are so awful for this country. But look at what President Trump did. I guess taking out Soleimani, why wasn't the big war then when he took out a known terrorist who had killed so many Americans? It's bizarre, to be honest with you.
Oh, very bizarre. What also I find incredibly bizarre is what intelligence were they acting off of? I know it was reported in New York Times, Washington Post, Axios. They were talking about excerpts of this book, Peril, and they were saying that China apparently was uneasy because they were afraid Trump was going to, whether it was a missile strike or who knows what, that there was going to be some kind of military action. And I'm thinking, who's feeding them this intelligence, or is this just China wagging the dog and trying to get a response from the U.S.?
I think it's probably all the above. I mean, look at the disadvantage they put America in. I guess China could have taken action that would undermine this country because, if you've got any officer in Milley's role, then they could have taken advantage of us and use that as an excuse to do something. But I've never seen anything like this. It doesn't surprise me. And just like you mentioned, Dana, what do we not know? What other steps did they take to undermine the president? Not just in this instance, but in other instances, that's not their role. That's not their title to do. And it's disloyal, and it's undermining the underpinnings of the United States.
One of the spins or defenses that we've been hearing, especially after Milley, through his spokesperson, confirmed this, which I thought was incredibly brazen. It kind of makes me think that he also is working with the two Washington Post reporters on this book, Congressman. But what really gets me about this is the defense is that, there were 15 other people sitting in that room with them. Well, I don't think any of them was the former president of the United States, Congressman. It doesn't sound like it. Does that matter to you if the president wasn't there and the people weren't informed?
Yeah. It's bizarre. And let's name those people. Let's get him in front of the Homeland Security or Oversight. And then the same thing in the Senate. Let's grill him on this. Because if he's, like you said, if he's brazen enough to admit this, which is obviously, in the military, you have you have rankings, you have things that you do and don't do. You follow, you're loyal to your superiors. And his superior was definitely the President of the United States. And look at the outrage if this came out that somebody did this to Joe Biden. Look at the outrage that the media would have. But here, they're defending it, and it's just words. That's all this administration does, from Biden on down to everybody that is in power right now, including Milley and Blinken and others.
But on this, because I've been reading so much, whether it was with Milley and then Esper's involvement, and then Miller was completely unaware of everything that was happening. Talk for a little bit of how dangerous it would have been. What if the Communist Chinese Party and the PLA had interpreted all of this and gotten from their conversations with Milley that the United States was going to preemptively attack or do something, and then they decided to go ahead and just do it right out of the gate and circumvent anything that they thought we were going to do, whether it was a missile strike or something economically, that could have been absolutely disastrous. And it's terrifying to think that we really were, maybe we were that close.
Well, it's terrifying to think that he would make the call to even and put the power on himself to make the call to a communist country that I think mistreats their people. Look at what they've done to the Uyghurs. Look at what they've done to anybody who tries to demonstrate against the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. And you know, it's a dereliction of duty, and he ought to have to answer for it. And you know, you wonder how many times this happened over the course of while he served under President Trump, because it's dangerous for the country. It was a mass. You talk about for him to even think about doing that and not alert other people. It would be interesting to get the 15 people that he says that knew about it. Not that their words matter, because they don't. The truth really isn't in them. But to make them go on the record and sign and go under oath. Let's see how they are.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. And it doesn't sound as though that he's going to go anywhere. I mean, under Barack Obama's administration, Obama-Biden, you had McChrystal, he was forced out of his role because he joked to Rolling Stone about Obama-Biden. Petraeus would privately disagree, and so he was forced out of his role. These are offenses that are, I don't even know if you can count them as offenses. I don't even think they meet the level of insubordination. But from the press conference today, from what Jen Psaki was saying, the president is sticking with Mark Milley. That, to me, I feel that that's a dangerous move. Your take on that, and then I want to ask you about Blinken.
Well, you're exactly right. And what if it happened to him? What if it happened to Joe Biden? Even he's cognitively impaired. We see that. But if it happened to him, the press would be all over it. And you're talking about treasonous. They would jump on everything. But with Trump, they majored in the minor. They picked him apart from the Ukraine call to the impeachment hearings. It was bogus. They knew it, but they had an agenda. And they had a willing press that publicized everything. Look at the hearings that took place during the time that the impeachment took place over really nothing compared to what this president is doing in 8 months. It's bizarre.